Hello, I'm Amy Zaby with the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert Report for Wednesday, May 30. BDS and Propaganda. Why are they brothers? Tuesday, May 29th, well over 50 rockets were hurled from Gaza by terrorists into the civilian population areas of Israel. One of them did actually hit a kindergarten. Yet the mainstream media has nearly been silent on this, and if there has been mention of it, often it is to explain that the response from Israel was disproportionately heavy. As well, when the U.S. Embassy moved to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv a few weeks ago, terrorists in Gaza had a pre-planned rally staged, an attack, so to speak, ready for media consumption. And it was billed as a protest to the move of the embassy. However, the protest became very violent, and over 62 people were killed or injured by IDF forces in this melee. The PA and Hamas ultimately reported that all these people were civilians, but then had to retract when the evidence was overwhelming that 50 of these people were actually Hamas militants. Hamas and other PA authorities actually confirmed that about 2 or 3 days after the actions were taken, after the news media originally ran with the 62, quote, innocent civilians killed during a protest. So not only that, a child who died during this time frame was also, the death was falsely blamed on the IDF. And Palestinian authorities actually came forward several days later to put on the record that this child actually had a medical condition, and that while the timing was poor and the death tragic, it wasn't actually the fault of the Israeli defense mechanism. But once again, they ran with the original story, which is blame Israel, and then the corrections are made later on, and not everybody sees those corrections or follows them. So what does all this have to do with BDS? The boycott, divest, and sanction movement that seeks to condemn Israel and blame it and Jews for all of the ills the Palestinian people suffer, while they claim to be helping those Palestinian people. The reality is that they seek the same outcome as the terrorists, that is, to remove Israel from the map. So BDS's PR campaign often uses the propaganda of the media and the terrorist organizations in order to gain support for their positions and vilify Israel and all things Jewish. They want to remove Israel and Jews from the arts, from academics, from innovations in economics. They conveniently overlook or even hide the fact that Israelis are often the first and only ones helping the Palestinians in their plight for things like health care and other services. Israelis pump water and electricity and even gasoline into Gaza, where it is siphoned off by a corrupt leadership, and the people have nothing. UN resources such as building materials and concrete are routinely diverted by the corrupt leadership in order to construct tunnels at over $1 million each, with the sole purpose of gaining terrorist entry into Israel in order to kill civilians. So the BDS and the terrorists are working for the same outcome from two angles. One from an overt violent stance and the other from an economic, cultural, and PR perspective, targeting not only Israeli citizens in the wake, but also innocent Palestinians who fall victim to the outcomes of both. That is, they suffer. Palestinians are in no better situation, in fact, far worse in Gaza after they had democratically elected their own terrorist Hamas leadership. And they do this, and in the so-called disputed territories, they have the pretense of saying that they are occupied, while the people in that area find their best prosperity and best protections are within those regions. That is, Arabs, Christian, Druze, Muslim, male, female, of any kind of orientation, as it were, are best protected and have the best living conditions and economic outcomes and freedoms living in areas controlled by Israel. And these folks often admit it off the record and won't say it publicly out of fear of retribution from the anti-Israel contingency. However, many are actually now coming forward, posting messages on social media, channels such as YouTube, and even on avenues such as Prager University. They explain, people in these videos, their Arab or Muslim upbringing and how they were taught to hate, and then when they see the truth themselves after investigating, the reality of the situation. So the next time you see on the news a line of bodies that Hamas or Gazan authorities are saying are the result of IDF overkill, watch carefully, because many of those folks in the body bags are moving around. One was even caught sneezing. These are often staged events. Do not believe the initial numbers of who's killed or wounded, or even if the population is civilian or militant, when it's Abbas or Hamas issuing these statements. Wait for the truth to filter out, and it often takes a week or two, and it's often sifted through in afterthoughts in newspapers and news articles on the television. And if all else fails, and you cannot decide what is truth or not, do what many from all backgrounds, from all religions, from all political bents do. They travel to Israel themselves. They take tours, they investigate, and they learn. You can do that and find the truth yourself. Genesis 12:3 is a promise that is most convincing to me, and I replay it every time in my mind I see or hear an injustice, a misrepresentation, or an outright lie against the Israelis or the Jewish people as a whole. Genesis 12:3 says, I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse. And to all peoples on earth they will be blessed through you. Thank you, Israel, for all you do, and that you hold your head high, despite all the lies that hurl around our social media and our news organizations. We stand by you, and so many people do, and we continue to pray and work to bring the truth to light. Shavua Tov. Have a great week.